Welcome back, all. My name is Tre Edgerton. I am a senior honors political science major, legal communication minor from St. Paul, Minnesota, and my pronouns are he, his, and I currently serve as the civic engagement coordinator for the HUSA External Affairs Department. So right now we are going to have a conversation as a part of the HUSA podcast, and this is in connection with the hashtag Vote HBCU challenge. So we encourage everyone listening out here to get registered and to check their registration at the hashtag Vote HBCU link in the HUSA Instagram bio. So now I have two other individuals with me, and I would love for them to introduce themselves because we have an excellent conversation in store for you all. So let's start with Mariah, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mariah Cooley. I am a sophomore political science major, philosophy minor from Peoria, Illinois. I helped a fellow Howard student with the first National Black Voter Registration Day, and I do a lot of activism work as well as working with different campaigns across the country.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, Josiah.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Josiah Jacobs, and I'm a sophomore political science major out of San Francisco, California. I haven't really done too much activism, but one of probably the biggest thing I did was I helped lead one of the biggest marches in Oakland history. In June 1st, after following all the George Floyd protests and shootings, all that stuff happened. So me and my homies, we got together and we made some magic happen. It was amazing. Over 15,000 people showed up. And it was beautiful. So that's probably the thing I'm most proud of in terms of my activism.
That's great. And just me personally, I did a lot of activism, community activism following George Floyd's death. Being from Minnesota, I organized a couple of marches happening in the suburban area. And then I spoke on the steps of the St. Paul, the Minnesota State Capitol. And then I helped organize the HBCU March of the Generations that happened this past August in DC with the Live movement. So, we just have a group of people that are ready to make change and just ready to get out into the community and foster a better tomorrow. So the big question that we are really trying to face here today and discuss is, so now that we've registered to vote as HBCU students, what is next? So who wants to take that?
I can take it. So I think what's important now that everyone's registered to vote is requesting your absentee ballot, figuring out your voting plan. What day are you going? Bring 3 friends with you. Bring your whole family with you. Make sure you have your mask. If you're submitting it by mail, you should be doing that before October 24th. Really, you need to do it at least 2 weeks in advance. So I think in regards to what next is, now that you're registered to vote, is making sure that everyone around you is registered to vote, as well as looking into the policies of both candidates about what's going to best benefit you.
Sure. So Josiah, would you agree that you really need to come in with a plan and just get out your votes, get out your friends to vote? Or what say you?
Most definitely. I agree with everything that Mariah said, as well as I feel like after we register to vote, we have to research into what we're voting for, like candidates, the policies that we're voting for. Like I recall yesterday, I got a text about Proposition 21 in California. I'm not really I can't recall what exactly it was about, but it looked pretty good. And then I went upstairs and my grandma was watching the news or something, and I got something that was against Prop 21. And that also, it made me think a little bit, because how it was told to me through text made it seem like, oh, I should vote for this, but then I got a differing opinion. So I feel like it's very important to research what we're voting into and try to get all perspectives, because, with social media, sometimes we only get one perspective. So I think we need to look into everything.
Definitely. I agree. Our social media can definitely be filtered and consolidated to what we similarly may believe in. And the issue with that sometimes is that you may not get all the entire entire perspective of a story, or entire perspective of any given bill or anything that's really happening in the world, because, y'all come from the same perspective. So speaking on that, and you both mentioned doing your research about candidates and others. So why is it important specifically for HBCU students to vote?
I think it's important for us to vote because our vote matters a lot. The Black vote is a large percentage of the vote, and we have to make sure that we're educated when we're voting for. Like I said earlier, we can't just go into an election just looking on one side, listening to what our friends told us. We have to, we live in an age where we can research anything that we need to, like, on the dot. So I feel like it's important to take advantage of this resource and, research like different policies, how this may affect you and your family, how it may affect you yourself. And as Black people, I feel like this is something that we all can do, and it's important because, like, more and more Black people are going to college now. It's like nowadays, so it's important that, as well as getting our education, we become politically educated as well.
Regardless of the outcome of the election, Black people are going to be the most affected by it, period. In regards to COVID relief, we are getting COVID more frequently than others, and we're dying more than the other races. In regards to education, and if slavery is going to be taught in schools or not, in regards to police reform and defunding the police. So that's why it's important to research about the upcoming election, because our lives are at stake here. And regardless of who wins, our lives are going to be affected the most. And I believe after November, the world's going to look a lot different for us. And there's definitely going to be some sort of uproar for whoever wins, whether that's from Trump supporters being angry that Biden has won, or for me personally as a Biden supporter feeling disheartened, frightened, scared once again, the same feeling that I felt in 2016.
Sure, definitely. So I assume because you are definitely active in politics and active in this sort of movement, are you going to be watching the presidential debate this evening? And if so, what are you hoping for? What are you expecting?
So I will be watching the debate simultaneously with phone banking on behalf of my congresswoman, and working for a campaign. I will be watching the debate, and I hope to see what I'm really nervous about. I'll say that I'm really nervous about the fact checking of this upcoming debate. I've seen recently that there will be no fact checking, and I think that's very, very important. So I'm hoping to see a sense of integrity from both politicians, because it's imperative that they are telling truthful information to American voting citizens, because this upcoming debate will really sway a lot of voters.
Sure. Josiah?
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly, because it is in this time, like, people, like, our political parties and ideologies are so divided. When people hear things that they want to hear, they tend to just run to that side and they don't really try to look at the other perspective. So I feel like fact checking is important, and since it's not happening in this debate, it's going to be crucial to see how the presidential candidates sway through that and try to and debate through it. Another perspective that is important is, since President Trump isn't he's on like a more moderate ground, he's not being interviewed by Fox or a conservative platform, he doesn't have to, they aren't going to cater to him as much during questions. They aren't going to go at him super hard on certain things. They aren't gonna go at him super hard. But so in this debate, it's gonna be interesting to see how he responds to that, and if he can like give us facts, or if he's just speaking in rhetoric and false narratives and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Now, in regards to topics that would be spoken about on the presidential debate, I assume the recent release of Donald Trump's tax records is possibly going to be a topic this evening. Do you have any thoughts on just that whole ordeal?
In short, I would say disappointed, but not surprised. I don't expect much out of Trump. He doesn't care about my Black life. So, and clearly he doesn't care about the average tax-paying American either, because clearly he does not pay his taxes. Yet, we saw this scandal with Hillary Clinton and the various things he's said about other politicians. For example, the Republican Party bashed AOC for spending money on a haircut, and it was like $250, yet Trump spent $70,000 on his hair. So I don't expect any sort of integrity, any sort of truthfulness to Donald Trump. So frankly, I'm not surprised.
So, and Josiah, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I'm definitely not surprised, and I'm sure no one is surprised that hearing this. I mean, there's a reason he hasn't released his tax returns in years. Like, he doesn't want anyone to see that, and it's actually ridiculous how you have hardworking Americans who are nowhere close to being billionaires who pay thousands and thousands more taxes than President Trump did in his election year 2016 when he paid $750. And you're a billionaire. That is ridiculous. And it reminds me of why, like Bernie Sanders, when he was running, he was advocating for taxing the rich, because frankly, a lot of the rich don't pay their taxes and they find loopholes around paying their taxes.
Sure, definitely. So RBG passed away the past week, and it looks like Donald Trump is very, very quick to already find a nomination. And it seems that the Senate is definitely going to be able to run that through as fast as possible. Do you think that it is still important to vote if there is going to be a possibility majority conservative Superior Court bench? Or do you feel like they're more motivated to even go out and fight?
It's even more important to vote now, because having a 6-3 conservative majority is so important. That hasn't happened in over 100 years. And like, it's just so hypocritical how now the Republican Party is trying to push us through as fast as possible in an election year, when 4 years ago, when President Obama tried to have his court justice appointed, the Republican Party denied it, and Mitch McConnell said it was because it was an election year. So I feel like this situation shows how hypocritical our government is becoming, and so partisan. And like I said, everything is divided. People are losing integrity. That's one of the biggest things that you can have in our country. People believing in the laws that are here and that we should follow them. Why should people follow laws if the people up top don't even follow them? There's no integrity.
Right. So my final question is really, okay, so we go out to vote. Election day happens. No matter what, life goes on, whether Donald Trump becomes our president, Joe Biden becomes our president. What can we do as a community to ensure that, regardless of the president, that we are moving forward?
I think the answer to that is to make sure you're paying attention to your local elections. What is going to directly affect you the most is who is your representative, who is your mayor, who is on your city council, and what are they doing for your community, and what policies are they supporting? What are they voting on or co-sponsoring or voting against necessarily? So as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, research is important, not only for the upcoming debate tonight, but for, if you did your research in the primaries and about the local election. And that's why it's so important for grassroots organizing. Oh my God. That's why it's so important for grassroots organizing, because without it, we wouldn't be where we are today. And regardless, we have to keep the momentum going. We have to keep protesting. We have to keep calling to defund the police and things of that nature.
and support animal rights. Does say the dog.
Yes, and support animal rights.
All right. What do you say, Josiah?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Mariah said, and like just continuing to be active in the community, trying to support our Black-owned businesses and stuff like that. Those are all things that we can do now and after the election. Just supporting each other, trying to uplift our race into more power in this society. Because whether whoever wins the election, only so much is going to change immediately. So we have to make sure that we're supporting each other and just keep putting in money to our businesses. Because of COVID, a lot of Black businesses have failed. A lot of small businesses have failed. So we have to, everything is not just going to become cured or fixed no matter who wins the election. So we got to make sure that we're putting in resources to our community and keep having activism. All that stuff is super important.
Sure, definitely. Well, are there any final words for the people? Anything that you want to leave them with? Any wise words, any comments, any pondering questions?
I would just say to keep the momentum going. Black Lives Matter, justice for Breonna Taylor. We just saw the atrocious acts of Attorney General Daniel Cameron. So we need to make sure we are voting in the local elections and we continue to protest.
Definitely. Okay. Anything from Josiah?
All my brothers out there and sisters, just keep fighting. Just keep fighting every day, trying to make a change in the society. I want everyone to get their voice out there. Anyone can start a podcast or whatever. So
yeah,
we all gotta take part in getting our voice out there.
Sure, definitely. And that's why we have moments like this and conversations like these to be able to actually capture the voice of our generation and to be able to come together and discuss issues that matter and pertain to our community. So thank you so much for joining me. I thank you so much for the work that you are doing in your respective communities to uplift the united community of Black people here in America and throughout the world. So kudos to you. And moving forward, everybody knows, get out, let's vote, y'all. No matter who you're voting for, at least get out to vote. Also make sure to pop out for the local and state elections, all that. Do the census, brush your teeth, wear a mask. Justice for Breonna Taylor because she still hasn't gotten any. Black Lives Matter, all Black Lives Matter. We support our Black women and all that. Be beautiful, be breezy. Love y'all, Bison. Great.
Thank you for having us.